Thank you very much, Mr. Ngaba, the President of the FTTX Council Africa, Ms. Clark, the Chief Executive Officer, the Captains of Industry, dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen. It is once again a great honor for me to be able to address you at this 2018 FTTX Council Africa Conference. This event is noteworthy for a few reasons. However, the most notable one is, of course, that of the centenary of the life of our leader, Nelson Mandela, and remembering the excellent work that he did and the legacy that he left behind. It also happens just a day after a powerful and decisive instructions from our own President Ramaphosa in his address to ITU Telecom World Conference yesterday. Just a few years ago, delivery of broadband services via fiber optics infrastructure was the luxury that was deemed only fit for the selected few individuals. At the time, the industry focused on the high LSMs area where people live in big houses and drove fancy cars. That is not the case any longer. Today, we know that fiber is the critical component of all telecommunication infrastructure. Last year, I indicated that fiber is a critical enabler of 5G. It is becoming more and more clearer that without fiber, we will not enter the 5G race, considering that 5G is not a linear evolution of 4G, but a whole new ballgame. Fiber is an essential component of connecting the mobile base stations. Mr. Ngaba, let me take this opportunity to congratulate you on recently launching the 5G fixed wireless trial network at the famous Villiers Street in Soweto. I understand that's the same street where Mandela and other leaders stayed. A true watershed moment for this country. We are encouraged by you and other operators in the increase in the 5G activities, including MTN, Vodacom, and others. It is clear from these trials that going forward, we'll be dealing with the massive data transfers which cannot be handled by the traditional technologies such as microwaves and satellite. You are correct to say that we have released the bill to Parliament after consultation with the stakeholders. But it is my feeling that there's been some pushback on some aspects of the bill. I'm sure the CEO will address you on some of those things. I may just indicate that from the feedback we got is that I think the Gauteng province and KwaZulu province, Natal province, as provincial governments, they are really assisting us. We still need to do more work with SALGA. As we were passing this bill through Cabinet, we indicated and urged Minister Mkhize to really help us to coordinate to ensure that there is no pushback. Because the bill we sent for public consultation, when it came back, it was a little bit watered down in terms of making the local authorities and private owners facilitate this infrastructure deployment. All stakeholders agree that the amount of fiber that we currently have in place is not nearly adequate to serve the future needs of the country. Although the industry has invested significantly over the past years, we believe that we need to deploy at least 8 times the amount of fiber that we currently have to achieve 5G vision. It is also very clear that these levels of investment are not sustainable unless the industry adopts innovative ways of sharing infrastructure with the aim of reducing infrastructure duplication data costs while expanding infrastructure to areas that will not be considered economically viable. According to Africa Analysis, the research partner of FTTS Council, the following statistics were published as of the end of July this year. 1,600,000 homes passed with an uptake number of just over 300 connected to fiber. I just don't understand this. Maybe I'll still have time with the president. We're passing homes, and only about a third connected. So we have to do something to make sure that people utilize that infrastructure which is there. Of these, an estimated of 800,000 homes were unique homes, passed as homes in some areas are passed by more than one fiber network from various operators. This presents a year-on-year growth of an approximately 87% for home pass and 158% of homes connected. So those are encouraging figures because if you look at raw figures, it looks like we're in a wrong direction. But from the percentage increase, it means we're connecting more and more homes as we move forward. That's quite an encouraging trend. 138.5 thousand business premises has been connected on fiber. This consists of a best effort of fiber broadband services and Metro Ethernet connectivity with quality of service. This represents a year-on-year growth rate of approximately 61% of business premises connected. So well done, because my understanding, any business which doesn't have fiber, I don't know how they run their digital economy in the future. It is clear from above numbers that there is continued fiber investment and network expansion when compared to numbers that I've reported during my budget vote speech in Parliament in May 2018. This is impressive, but we know that we're still only scratching the tip of the iceberg. If we are striving for ubiquitous access to high-speed broadband, there's a need for agency, which is very obvious to all of us. I'm glad to report that the department has made significant progress in its aim to support the industry in achieving its goals. As you may know, the department now has submitted the Electronic Communication Amendment Bill to Parliament. Chapter 4 of this bill addresses the legislative measures needed to implement very important rapid deployment policy. There's a chapter I'm still worried about because Parliament is still going to have public hearings. So, and as I've said, I feel that there's been some pushback from the municipalities. Of course, we'll work with the municipalities to improve this situation, but I hope you will participate in those parliamentary processes. Last year, during your conference held in Cape Town, I mentioned that the department was working in earnest to implement the ICT white paper while awaiting the legislative process to be finalized. You may be aware that earlier this year, the department requested private sector to make individuals available to support the DTPS with the implementation of the rapid deployment policy. We have established the Rapid Deployment Coordinating Committee, Coordination Center, whose purpose is, inter alia, is to support rapid deployment of electronic communication facilities. And for this purpose, to interface with municipalities and other stakeholders to fast-track rights-of-way and way leaves approval. The FTT Council, representing the industry, have very kindly made representatives for 3 of its member organizations available to the department to advise on technical regulatory and IT matters, as they are the people with the necessary experience and expertise. Thank you, Mr. Ngaba and Ms. Clark, for that support. We really appreciate it. I'm told we are one of the sectors who are very active and contributing in that coordinating center we've set up. Thank you once more. Further, the National Rapid Deployment Steering Committee, chaired by our Director General, Mr. Nkuna, will oversee the work of the Rapid Deployment Coordinating Center and provide strategic direction. Ms. Clark, the CEO of the Council, will herself participate here to ensure that the industry is well represented. I'm convinced that we will make great progress and achieve our goals in the rapid deployment of electronic communication facilities if all stakeholders cooperate and display utmost goodwill in facilitating the rollout of networks that are capable of bringing huge economic benefit to all our citizens as a result of having access to broadband services. Colleagues, all over the continent, people are looking to broadband as a means of income. Technology is fast reshaping our world, and it has the potential to change everything: people, business, communities, and our nation. Our job as leaders is to respond to ensure that we make digital transformation a reality. This is an important task, and as an industry, we must find ways of making this happen. And this includes our capacity to work together to identify opportunities in the transition we must make. This industry has the potential to aid the economic growth, dynamism, and ingenuity Africa needs. A key part of the solution is staring us right in the face, unleashing the economic power of the digital world. We must not fail our people. This means that we must do everything in our power to ensure that we connect those that make sense and those that don't. We must ensure that we meet our commitments in full, not back away from them, and we must commit ourselves to the most ambitious target of seeing everyone, every person connected to broadband. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, achieving this ubiquitous access to ICTs and services is not an easy task, but I'm confident that together we can achieve this. We need to continuously visit our goals and set ourselves a challenge, and this provides us with a mission. Mr. Ngaba, you've mentioned the real issue of infrastructure, of what we need to provide as we move forward. You have mentioned the key elements that fiber is a backbone, but also we need infrastructure such as data centers, and we must change our policies to ensure that we facilitate such infrastructure. Top of our priority is to encourage innovation centers. We want you to come back and create our own Silicon Valley. Not in Johannesburg, maybe in Soweto, maybe in Mashabela. So that's what we really need, the innovation centers, so that we can continue to innovate. The data centers, and we are correct, I've opened quite a number of data centers. More and more companies are investing in data centers in Africa, not just for our country, but to service the whole continent. And what they've told me, you need few things. you need a high capacity connectivity of fiber again. I saw big pipes of fiber when I go to those things. You need electricity. I was actually shocked, why you need electricity? And then they've got big generators too. So to power those, they tell me it's important to keep those things powered all the time. So those are the things we are really looking. That's why we're also trying to relook our energy policy to make sure that we have a sustainable energy supply to the industry. I believe that there are several financial institutions here with us today. We want to provide you with an assurance that as government we support our industry and yourself. We urge you to continue investing in this sector, and we pledge that our full support to ensure that we bring our part in the building the sustainable sector. Once again, I emphasize that at a regional level, we need to enable organizations that deploy infrastructure in different countries. So it's not about just South Africa. We're working with SADC. We're working now with Smart Africa to try and improve the connectivity so that we can invest not just in one country but across countries. So those are the initiatives where we have got many African ministers who are here. I'm sure some of them may like to interact with your companies as we move forward. Lastly, the key element of what we are doing to prepare our future, because as government we may not claim that we know what the future brings. As you have heard, President, and he repeated this yesterday, he made an announcement at the beginning of this year in his State of the Nation address that we need to form a commission led by him at the highest level, by the President, but bringing back the civil society, the industry, labor, and all key stakeholders who may assist us to really achieve our goals of being in the forefront of this revolution, which is upon us. So I hope in that respect that industry like yours, when we call for representations, you have heard the President said we must finalize this thing in the next few days. He really scared me when he made that announcement. As you know, as department, we take time to deal with tens of restaurants. So the President is a very practical person. He wants this thing done in the next few days. So I hope this council will also be represented, because when I saw what Mr. Ngaba was showing us here, the good work you're doing, guys, that's what we need for the future. In conclusion, let me wish you a huge success for this country. When I came in here, I thought I was coming to meet 20 people. And when I was coming in, I saw the stands there. I thought it'd be few companies. So it looked like this industry is growing. And you are continuing to invest in our country. As you have heard, the President has called for investment conference. And that investment conference starts on the 25th to the 27th, by the main day being the 26th of October. Quite clearly, when we are looking at this investment, it is good to announce mega investment, like the guys who are spending billions in the data centers. That's good. But we also understand the small companies also contribute significantly to that $1 billion US investment in the next 5 years. So we also hope that the FTTS Council will also make representation of the work we are doing now, the work we are planning, because it's only when we know what's your plans, we can also help to bring certainty in terms of policy, how we facilitate your investment. Once more, thank you very much, and all the best for your conference. Thank you.